Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Locker Room Podcast. I'm Daryl Natil. It's been a while since I've been online. Almost back till football season. November was my last podcast, but I'm cranking things back up, and I'm going to take the podcast to another level. I'm thinking about doing some things and going nationwide with this thing. But this evening, got some of my friends on, and I'm going to introduce one by one. Top right-hand corner, former BCU Wildcat quarterback, Leon Hillier. Say hello to the folks.
How you doing, people? Glad to be here.
All right. Down in the bottom corner, kicker for the BCU Wildcats. I spent the weekend with him, Jose Cortez.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We call him Jose, but his name is Jesus. And down in the bottom left, a former quarterback himself from what, Boca Raton?
No, it's Fort Lauderdale. David.
Fort Lauderdale?
Yes, sir.
Marcus Lewis. Say hello to the folks.
How you doing, man? Marcus Lewis. How y'all doing?
Okay. All right. We're going to talk about last weekend. Last weekend, we were in Daytona for the spring game and some extracurricular after the game. And you guys had an opportunity, most of you guys had an opportunity to watch the Wildcat football team and see some things. And since then, we've had a number of kids going to the portal. We'll talk about that later on. But we're going to start with Marcus. Marcus, kind of tell the folks a little bit about what you do.
Really, I was kind of just on the phone talking about it. My whole model behind the One Up showcases, we're looking for the next one up. The next one up in any genre of music, the next one up in any form of entertainment, comedy. We looking to work with wrestlers that we were talking earlier. And I just really want to showcase the talent, and we're going to talk more about how I know Minister Daryl, but kind of picking up where he's left off with helping the city, putting it on the map, getting it back to his glory days, and finding the talent here in Daytona Beach and giving it that spotlight it deserves. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's good. So Leon, I've been trying to get him on for a while. Leon is the former Wildcat quarterback. Let's take a look at back in the day. What was it like back in the day? Oh my God!
Minister Daryl.
Michael Jackson. I see Michael Jackson on that. Number 11. And who's that? Who's that in the middle?
That's J.D. Hall. That's
J.D. Hall,
the legend himself. Long live
okay,
J.D.
what year was that?
That was my 91.
91. I was born in
1991 Wildcat quarterback.
That's
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now?
Right
What
now,
are you doing now?
I work for Republic Services, recycling company, and just out here serving my community, keeping it beautiful, and
Well, shout out to you. That's crazy. I just got off a shift. I worked with FCC, what used to be Republic.
Yeah.
International.
Yeah.
So, I know what type of work you do.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And it all coordinates back to Cookman, though, head, heart, and hand.
Yeah.
This is what
all your money go to Cookman. Let me show you why. He got two of them. He got two girls at Cookman, huh?
See,
it
costs money.
Coming back. The one on the left is coming, and the one on the right is leaving.
Oh, bless your heart, man.
Okay, the one on the right was the cheerleader. Now she's a trainer for the football team?
Yes, sir. She's a trainer.
She want to be on the field. She just want to be on the field, huh?
Yeah, she should have been playing quarterback, but you know how that goes.
Hey, the other night at the wrestling match, I had the opportunity to hang out with these folks.
Beautiful.
Minister Daryl over here producing.
Yes, sir.
How you getting those pictures up here like that? I'm actually looking at that photo. It's right in my dining room area. Well, I just moved here. We don't got a dining room table yet, but that's the only picture hanging up in the house right now.
Hey, look who just popped in. Former Wildcat quarterback, great.
Himself.
Mr. Bernard Hall. Hello, Bernard.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Just giving shout outs to family. I know the principal. No, she'll be glad to see this one.
Minister Daryl been on Facebook.
I'm living a happy life with a happy Wildcat wife.
He been stalking.
You're right.
No.
I'm trying to do a little bit of production here. I tell you what we're gonna do. Let's play a quick game. Bernard, What's the most memorable moment of a Wildcat quarterback for you? I know we know about it now. Talk about it.
Does it have to be a win or a loss?
What about the one we was discussing a little bit earlier this week?
Okay.
The loss.
You want to go right in? Georgia.
I want to go right in.
Yeah, Georgia Southern. October 6th, 1984, in the Gator Bowl. It was the Ham and Hawk show, as they called it. But Ham got the best of all of us.
You had 40 completions out of 66 attempts, 527 yards, 3 TDs, 139 quarterback rating. Sebastian Brown had 9 catches, and Leon Gonzalez had 15 catches, and we lost that game to Georgia Southern.
Yeah, like I say, it was a Tracy Ham show. We put up 33, and he came back and put up 43. So
wow.
That's the history of it.
I asked Cortez early, on Saturday, he was hanging out with me, and I asked Cortez his most memorable moment. Watch this.
I'm here with Jesus Cortez, kicker for the Wildcats back in the early 2000s. Jesus, your memorable moment as a Wildcat. Tell us about it.
Probably against when we fought North Carolina A&T at our place. Yeah, they kind of plant that flag in the middle of the field in bags, had to go take care of business. And we're a team, so we got a little something there. Some say someone threw something, but I don't know how true that is.
Well, you threw something, right?
I think it was a bass drum, they said.
He threw a bass drum at another player from A&T in the big fight against A&T. That was his memorable moment.
That's crazy.
Leon, what was your memorable moment as a Wildcat?
I have several. I got one like Mr. Cortez against Howard, where it lasted for about 35 minutes, and I was ejected. Oh man, it had to be the last game played in Tampa, the Classic, and we won the last game in Tampa against Florida A&M. And my whole life, everybody in my family went to Florida A&M. I used to go to the Classic every year and never knew who Florida A&M was playing. And I didn't find that out until Coach Little showed up at Fort Pierce Westwood with a scholarship for me to go to Bethune-Cookman College.
And so Coach Little recruited you?
Yes.
Marcus, you played football down in Fort Lauderdale. How did you get to Daytona? Did you play in Daytona too?
It's funny because it kind of ties into one of my favorite moments as a Wildcat. Actually, the coaching staff that coached me up actually coached Matt Johnson, if I'm saying his name right. And Matt Johnson had a record of about like 530 yards in a game. And my last game as a senior, I threw for 504 or something. I came third in Broward. And it was ironic because the coaching staff that coached me used to coach him. And they said, you know what, Matt went to Bethune. You should go. And he was like a guide at this time. So I was kind of nervous. But when I came to Cookman, I wanted to see him. And I seen him and met him. And it was just an awkward, funny moment that we got coached by the same coaching, almost the same even play offense even was ran. So, yeah, that was one of my favorite moments as a Wildcat, meeting Matt Johnson for my freshman year in 09, I believe. Yeah, 09.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
My most memorable moment as a Wildcat. My most memorable moment as a Wildcat, I was a kid, ball boy, and we had a punt returner who had gold spray painted shoes, picked up a punt with 5 guys standing around him. This fella right here, Mr. Alvin Shine Wyatt. If you saw him in college, man, he was incredible. I also got a chance to talk to Coach Wyatt at the banquet. Let's see what he had to say.
Shine Wyatt, coach, after a stellar career at BCU, great coaching. What are you doing now at BCU? Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, right now, today, I'm sitting here speaking with you, trying to make sure and ensure that you get me on your podcast one day.
You're on the podcast now, sir. But you're doing a lot of help with the athletic department. You're doing some fundraising. Tell us about what you got going.
I'm the executive director for the development of athletics, and we're here today to try to make sure we can get some finance going to really help this program get back to its winning ways.
I was in the locker room, and you've done a lot of special work to help with that locker room.
Yes, I'm glad to be a part of it, and it's going to be more. We're not finished. The work is it's really just beginning. We have a long ways to go.
I want you to say you're watching the locker room. Say that.
I was what?
You're watching the locker room.
I'm watching the locker room.
Okay, and you got your shirt, right? I gave you a shirt this morning.
Oh, you sure did.
The
That's why I want to be on your podcast.
That's why you on the podcast. This is Alvin B. Shine.
Man, Coach Wise always pranks. I gave out some shirts. I think I gave one to Cortez got one. I think Hawk got one. All of you guys will get a shirt for being on the podcast. So I'm trying to get some merch going too. But the number one topic I think that everybody's talking about. Let's see if I can find an intro to that. Everybody's been talking about this young man right here, Nico. That transfer portal. And what happened with Nico? Mr. Hawk, can you kind of tell us about what happened with this young man this week? What you think about it? Mr. Hawk?
It looked like
he froze. He froze.
Yeah.
Leon, what you think about that situation? You know, he making $2 million, holding out for $4 million.
There go Hawk.
Okay, go ahead, Hawk. Juju.
He's either froze or he's thinking hard.
He moving.
He has.
No, I'm still here, but I was basically trying to get the information from Daryl again as to what the topic was about.
Okay, we're talking about Nico, the quarterback at Tennessee, holding out. He was making 2.5, holding out for $4 million. Did not show up in practice. What do you think about the situation now with the kids with the transfer portal and NIL? What's your take on that?
Well, you know, I'm the senior member of the group, and you know, you and I, Daryl, we they consider us, you know, prehistoric dinosaurs when it comes to situations like that. When it comes to money like that, it was definitely unheard of. So it's really something that I think it's taken away from, you know, the nuts and bolts of the game as to how we played the game with you know, integrity and the fact that we wanted to build something in order to, you know, receive something. So now I don't want to take anything away from his talent, because from my understanding, he's a very talented young man. But I think, you know, the money value has just changed the way that, you know, the game is going to be played from here on out.
You know, Cortez, you had an opportunity, you know, to hang out, you know, with the Cats this week. What did you see different than from when your days?
They spoiled, man. They spoiled. Like, and I mean, they blessed as well, you know, but they got to take advantage of situations like that, man. So a lot of kids don't have that opportunity. And then this transfer portal stuff, man, it just kind of, it just ruined, like messes it up, I think, because there's no family. There's no connection like we had. Like, you know, I'm over here risking me getting suspended throwing a bass drum because that's my family. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have that no more. I don't think they don't have that the unity, man. Like, you know, that's my brother. You know, because money talks, man. Unfortunately, but the kids are spoiled, man. You can tell I don't know. It's just we're like my brothers now that I've seen that night, man. It's just we're still tight, man. You know, it's a different atmosphere, man.
Marcus, you see a lot of that too in your industry, guys. You want to sing and perform for dollars and stuff like that. What's the take on the young people today?
Yeah, I you know, it's funny because I do want to give or shoot the young people a little bell. We are unfortunately in a capitalist society, And unfortunately, for years, even Mr. Hawk, all you guys that played, they capitalized on y'all, and the kids are kind of getting what's owed to us to some extent. Now, I do agree that it is kind of tainted the love of the sport for what you would sign up and really play for. But the young kids is really about that bag. They bag chasers, and if it don't look like something I can show off, or it don't look like the part, then I don't want no parts of it. They don't want to see the grind part too much, and I think that's what's lacking. It's not necessarily the money; it's just the foundation, that grind.
I'm gonna leave this last one to Mr. Hilliard, because he called me last night where he was going off after we got the news about our number one running back, Palmer, going into the portal. See, last year he only played in 6 ball games, and he made second team all SWAC. When they announced that he made second team all SWAC, I immediately said he gone, because somebody gonna get in his ear. This kid only played 6 games. I'm almost rushed for 1,000 yards. Jeez. And ended up second team all SWAC running back. Young kid out of Stuart, Florida. He had a heck of a season, but he only played half of the year. Now he jumped in the portal. So, Mr. Hilliard, you got the floor, sir.
I mean, didn't see it coming. Thought he had a promising future, but as you see, back to that portal, they're dangling money in front of these kids' face. And somebody tampered with him. Somebody said something to him. Hey, if you come over here, we can do it. They ain't getting you nothing. We got it over here. Mm-hmm. And it's like Mr. Marcus says, it's a capitalist society. And you can't blame the kid, but going back to what the previous guy said, where's the loyalty? Where's the commitment? We did that shit. We did it for free. We did it for the love. We did it because it was in us. Coach Little didn't have to do what he did for me. And the most I could do for him is return the favor. Every time I put that uniform on was give him my all. And I know Coach Little wasn't doing it for the money. Coach Little was doing it for the love of the game and for the love of the next black man. And that's how he coached. There was no money involved, And like I said, you can't blame the kids. But before we sign these kids at a school like Cookman, there needs to be a agreement. You're gonna come here. You're gonna learn this alma mater. You're gonna give this your all. This is not a one-stop shop. You get your 6 games. You get your 6 games under your belt, and somebody say, "Hey, you can do better over here," or "Hey, I got more money over here." You up and leave. Where's the accountability? Where does that lie at? Where's the commitment to say this guy called me and took a chance with me? Gave me the opportunity. So why didn't they get you first? The NCAA, they put that portal in for a reason. And this is just my take. It's going to ruin black college football.
Why you say that?
We don't have the resources to compete.
Right.
We don't have the money. We don't have the funds.
I was going to ask that question. What do you think is the problem with the retention for Bethune-Cookman University? What do you think? And he kind of answered it there in what he was saying.
The funds and the resources.
Yeah. And also, everybody trying to get to the league. Who's really putting me in a position to get to the league? I think that also comes across.
If I could have made $1 million at Cookman, I wouldn't even thought about the NFL.
That's true. That's another funny.
The NFL would have been obsolete.
Yeah.
I would have been trying to find ways to keep it going at Cookman. If you look at the last draft classes for the last 6 years, how many kids were drafted from HBCUs?
Not many. 1 or 2.
You were given opportunities to come to try out for a team.
We get some people. That sneak in the draft, but I definitely, you're making a point. We definitely get what your point. Far and few.
And my take: who wants to see 22 white men play football? I mean,
we got quarterbacks on here, and most of the quarterbacks on here played quarterback in the era where black quarterbacks were not really allowed, in the NFL. Bernard, you played back in the day. What's your take on the dual threat quarterback? You used to throw that football. I don't think you really ran it that much. What's your take now on the state of quarterbacks today?
Well, the one person that I saw that was right before me that actually, was supposed to pave the way for us was Doug Williams. My class, the class of 86 quarterbacks, actually, let me take a step. 3 years prior to that, the class of 83, you had Dan Marino, you had Jim Kelly, and you had what's the guy, Elway. Those three guys went first round in the class of 83 draft, and they took up 3 years of draft spaces. That basically when myself came through, Willie Totten came through. He was Mississippi Valley State. That was Jerry Rice's.
Yep.
Gilbert Renfro from Tennessee State and Trace Ham. All of us had to take that trip across the border. Now, some fared well and some didn't, for various reasons. But then after that, the 87 draft came in, and then you had Randall Cunningham. So it started to pick back up after Randall, after the three of us went across the border. And like I say, some of us stayed, my injury just basically, took me out for good. But for the most part, I think that today's quarterbacks that have come through, and one of my favorites, basically, is Jalen Hurts, dual threat. It's very smart, and he is the epitome of what somebody. He has persevered through the collegiate ranks and through the in the NFL. So right now, if you really want to see somebody that is doing well, as a black quarterback, and that has basically been through the trenches, and possibly he's paving the way for others, to come behind him. So, from then to now, it's a big difference. But I'm glad to see what I'm looking at and what is, what's being, displayed, from the black quarterback standpoint of view from my era up until now.
You talk about loyalty. This kid right here, our quarterback, this is a cartoon picture of him, Cam Ransom. I was trying to get him on tonight. Cam has been at BCU for 3 years. His first season, he wasn't eligible. He stayed, he played a lot last year, and this year he's labeled to be the starter. But you see these prices, you see those things on the side, that's his hustle. He has a hibachi grill that he pulls out in the evening and go into the courtyard of his dormitory, and he cooks and chefs and plays music and feed the kids, man. That's his hustle.
You might have to give me his number.
I'm gonna get you his number.
Yeah.
But we've had the opportunity to watch Cam the last two. What do you think about our quarterback situation right now? Any one of you guys could hop in on that.
I'm gonna let Leon take that because
Go ahead, Leon.
I'm a little behind on watching this guy right here.
Yeah.
I like Cam to be the leader. I think last year he tried to do it himself.
That do too much.
He had tried to do too much, and he has to realize you got 10 other guys with you, and if those 10 can't get with you, then some adjustments need to be made on that part. I think the play calling hindered him. I don't think the play calling was in his favor. The throwing the ball east to west instead of north to south. We didn't get vertical on people. We went east and west trying to utilize the little speed we had it in open space.
We ran them tunnel screens all season long. I got tired of seeing tunnel screens. And
I'm quite sure the defense did too. They had to let us score sometime on it because they got tired of seeing it. From watching Saturday's performance, the guy I'm not sure what the names are, but what his number was, but it was the other guy on the other side of the ball. he had a really good showing. I think he's gonna push Cam. Cam needs to be pushed. He can't settle in and say, "Hey, I got it on lock." He needs to be pushed, and I think if you push him, he'll respond. So, watching those guys play Saturday, the 3 that they have, the 2 that they're gonna play, I think we'll be all right with the play call. The play calling has changed. It's not. It wasn't the same as last year.
We got a new offensive coordinator. Yeah.
We're not one dimensional anymore. It's not two passes to the sideline and a draw play. So it looked like they were trying to get the ball down the field.
I got to catch some games this year.
We looked like we had some receivers that wanted the ball. Past couple of years, these kids didn't want it. Oh, what was that wide out prayer we had? The wide out prayer. Did you guys say that? Our wide out core must go. Our wide out core must grow and grow.
That's numbers.
That's probably your era.
Yeah. but we got it. But we got that from the guys before us.
Okay, well it had to be a little bit after me now because my crew was silent.
Jeff Parker, Troy Grant, Carl Gibbons.
Yeah, that was the '90s crew.
Yes. We kept that going after that point, and I told Cam, I said, man, you got to get with these guys, man. Y'all got to be like hand in glove. You got to know their every move. You got to know when his plant foot hit. You got to be to let that. You got to let that ball go. He's got to know that when his plant foot hit, Cam didn't let the ball go. So
because we were throwing the ball so lateral last year, we punted and we kicked a lot. I got a kicker on here, and our punter was all conference, and our kicker. Well, I don't want to throw him up under the bus, but if we make a field goal against Southern and a field goal against Texas Southern and a field goal against FAMU, we win those games. And then yesterday, our all-conference punter, Frederick, went into the portal, and one of our other kickers went into the portal. So, Mr. Cortez, what did you see from the special team, part of the Wildcats when you watched last week?
You got quite a bit of kickers there. I remember we didn't have that many, but they all had decent legs. I'm a coach too, so I was critiquing as I saw. They all need a little.
I know
help.
you videotaping everything.
Yes, sir. And I was like, critiquing. They, follow through on some of them. Wasn't like they should have been. The starting kicker always to the left. He lifts his shoulder up. He wants to see the ball go into the. You can't do that. You got to watch yourself kick the ball. You can't kick something you can't see. You know what I'm saying? That's why his shoulders. That's why he always goes left on kickoffs. He's trying to crush it. He's lifting his shoulder up. So but I mean, they got strong. They're big kids, man. I'm 5'6", man. You know what I'm saying? But that didn't mean nothing. I'm still booting that ball. You know what I'm saying? So, but the punter, man, I don't understand why the transfer. I mean, 50-yard punt is 50 yards anywhere. You know what I'm saying? 60-yard punt is 60 yards at Bama, at Cookman, at a D3. If you can punt, you can punt. You're gonna get looks. He was pretty good. I thought he was a good punter. Big kid too. There's quite a bit of them, man. They have decent legs, man. I think a lot of time is more, to me, I think it's more flash than anything, man. I don't know how hard they work, if they work hard. To me, I try to perfect my craft. I never had a coach, so it was all me, and I just, they're pretty good. I mean, they need a little help. I'm a critique. I ain't try to bash them or nothing like that, but I got my nephew coming in this fall. He's a kicker as well. He did pretty good last year. He didn't get a lot of looks. He started late. Nice sized kid. Has a great leg. Hard worker, man. That man works his butt off, man. He's a hard worker. So hopefully he could get in. He's going to this camp here in June. So hopefully they can look at him. Coaches like what they see. I've been working with him.
But see, you guys, I live here in Daytona. I get opportunity to see a lot of the other sports. For example, the track team. Oh my God, the track team. Watch this. Here's a stat for you. Bethune-Cookman University track team, their long jump team is ranked number 2 in the nation in average, and all those guys are true freshmen. That's the first time in history 4 freshmen lead the nation in average long jumping. And we don't even have a track. And talking to Coach Steers the other day, on the map, very soon they're going to put a track around the old practice field and they're going to turf it. And that's where the band will practice from now on. So, you know, the track team got some great kids. I got another kid that's second in the nation in the 200 meters. This kid, Shenard Walker, he broke BCU record in 200 meters.
We can't get him return punts.
I don't know. He a little short guy. He like 5'4" too, man. I saw he came to my pool the other day. He a little small kid.
Devin Hester wasn't that big. He could fly.
Darren Sproles.
Teach him how to get out the air and get a head start.
Okay. Another sport, matter of fact, Bethune-Cookman just defeated Florida A&M 8-2 over in Sanford. Okay. Baseball team, man. This kid, Daryl Lee, my God, he hit one tonight. The ball was gone. It hit the top of the fence. A double that opened the game up in the 7th inning. The baseball team is right now 21-16. They're having a great year too. You want to talk about that?
Minister, you got to take me to a baseball game. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you got to take me to a game.
I've been watching them and following them as well. Matter of fact, that's one of my stops this weekend. The old dinosaur, he'll be 61 tomorrow, so I'll be
happy birthday, Bernard Hall.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I'll be enjoying some Wildcat baseball on Saturday. So I'm excited.
I'll be over in Sanford on Saturday. I'll be on the broadcast on Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna be over in Sanford, but when they play back at Jackie Robinson, I'll make sure, Marcus, you're there with me.
Yes, sir. Definitely let me know. I'll be there.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take you guys to another sport, and I'm gonna give everybody a chance to give me their opinion of this. The new Steph Curry.
That's not the new Steph.
The new Steph Curry. He shaved his head.
That better not be
the new Steph Curry.
I'm gonna go
look
this
up
right now.
You gonna look it up, man?
That's not
look it up.
Midlife crisis.
That's Minister Darryl fooling Photoshop.
No. He shaved his head. You know, the NBA, man, is a long season, 82 games. I'm a Laker fan. I'm a LeBron fan.
Okay.
And I like to see them win it because of all of the hoopla about Bronny.
That would be crazy.
Anybody want to chime in on that?
Actually, that would be crazy. And I think that was LeBron's goal when he wanted to play with his son. Give him that experience. I'm all for it. I'm not the biggest LeBron hater. I'm a Heat fan. So I'm kind of about LeBron because it went down in Miami with him. But I'm not mad at that. If there's a story right now that is definitely in LA right now, especially with that Luka trade.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
set up for it. It's
set up.
It's set up because
they got to see OKC. They got to see who else? They got to see the Joker, Denver. But it's not gonna be easy. But I think if it's anybody that could do it,
it's possible.
Yeah, it's Bron.
And I think he'll take the bull by the horns and he'll initiate himself in this one. The last ones he didn't. He was a facilitator. He wasn't. I'm just here. This one, if he gets it, it's gonna have to go through him. So I mean, kudos to him for keeping the generational wealth alive with his son. I mean, everybody harping on him about that. I mean, I can't see not one father that wouldn't have done that for his son, his child.
You're right.
Regardless of what everybody else think. Oh, well, he made him. He's 55th pick. What? He ain't the greatest, but he's still my son. And what better way to have it end than me and him on the court together? Who's done it before? Who's did it? What sport did Cal Ripken play with his dad in baseball?
Yes, he did.
He played with his dad.
And his brother.
King Griffey. King Griffey.
Okay, see, so
it's the first time in basketball, though.
First time in basketball.
Yeah, so that's a big stat.
It's not that it hasn't been done before. It's just we don't see it that often. And then when somebody like LeBron James does it, it's an issue.
Yeah.
No.
We talked about earlier about the players being spoiled. In this area, the spoiled athlete, going from school to school, not wanting to fight against the competition and stuff like that. But I think the mental health plays a big part in athletics today. I'm gonna put a picture up, and any one of you guys could, if you know the story, can jump on it.
Oh
Sad
man,
story. Sad story.
I've been too
Sad
busy
story.
to read about it, but I've definitely seen that kid before. And you know what's funny? That new rule they just put out about the gun celebration.
Oh,
He was one of I hate to bring up the negative about it, but that was one of the
wow.
things he would do, and that was a popular celebration for him. Like he went viral for one clip. That's how I remember him. I don't know if he's done it since though. But it's so funny. It's so crazy.
I
Go ahead.
personally don't like that. I don't like that celebration.
Yeah.
I'm tell you a little bit. I've been 18 years in law enforcement. I'm a sergeant. And when I work football games, I've had in my school, I've had about 6 kids get murdered. You know what I'm saying, with gun
Wow.
violence. And it's like, it bothers me, man. I don't know. It just irks my nerves. But the coaches let it happen. So what can you do? What can I say as the opposing deputy at a game? You know what I'm saying, to some kids doing that to our, when they score a touchdown. And we at that year we were not that good, so they were scoring on us left and right. You know what I'm saying? So, shoot, I personally don't like that, man. But I think it falls on the coaches. You know what I'm saying? We work cases where a kid does that in the hallway to another kid. You know what I'm saying? And we're investigating them. You know what I'm saying? So I just think brings a negative look. It brings I grew up in the hood, so it's like we don't want them labels like that. You know what I'm saying? Already, we already get that label. So I just think I personally don't like it. Some people, they support it, they like it. But if they see pros do it, the kids are gonna do it. They're
John
gonna
Morant.
practice
John Morant does it.
Let me chime in on that.
And the crazy thing, I didn't like to bring it up in that sense, but I don't know the full story behind what happened with him. Really, what happened, Minister Joe, if you don't mind me asking? What was the official story?
Well, I think he supposedly had killed somebody.
Yeah, he hit and run.
Hit and run.
Yeah, hit and run.
He was on the run and he committed suicide. The kid was going in the draft, man. The kid was trying to get to the league.
Yeah. No, he's a very popular player. That's kind of how I remember.
When he did that LSU game, I saw the coach chew him out.
Yeah,
Minister Darryl, do you remember when we played Clark Atlanta?
Yes, I did.
You remember when the DB made that play?
At the end of the game.
He chased the receiver down, knocked the ball. The receiver made a hell of a catch. He ran the receiver down, knocked the ball loose, caught the ball, ran it all the way back, ran to the sideline, and did the same exact thing this kid Lacey just did.
They called a 15-yard penalty, and the next play they kicked the field goal and won the game. That was fourth down. If the ball had been turned over, all we had to do is take a knee and win the game.
They
called a dead ball foul on us, and they kicked the field goal with 17 seconds. The game was over. The celebration was what killed us.
I really don't like that. That's very hard. A trigger warning with. I thought it was an act of violence. I didn't know that he did that to him. So that's very unfortunate, for real. I'm literally learning about this today. I haven't been in my phone like I normally have been.
Read about that same play, Minister Darryl. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and I commented on it. I'm like, you're winning, and you're displaying this type of behavior when you're winning. What type of behavior do you display when you lose? He literally had his hands cocked like he had an AR-15 assault rifle pointing at our player and shooting a gun. And the comment said, "Oh, they're kids. They're just having fun." No, that's not having fun.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Not in these days. Not these days. Not these days. Yeah. They blasted me. Get off the old man. You don't know what you're talking about. He can crash out on the field. Why you got to crash out on the field and you're winning? You're winning.
Mhm.
You're up. And this is what you do when you win. You pull out guns like you're killing somebody.
Yeah.
I want to go to Bernard on this one. Bernard, we saw this season. I know you didn't go to that school, but them Vikings out of Jacksonville went down to Miami to play Miami Northwestern, and that game turned ghetto. Did you see the game?
I saw the highlights, and here it is. You're talking about the level of talent that's here in the state of Florida. Jacksonville, pretty much from my time coming up, has been quarterback university here in
Gaffney
Jacksonville.
boys was quarterback in my day.
And it's unfortunate you mentioned, Gaffney, because I just went to Derek Gaffney's homegoing a couple of weeks ago. He was one of the top receivers here in Jacksonville, went on to the University of Florida, like I say, with the rest of his brothers. And he even had his son following his footsteps, Jabbar Gaffney. So Reigns has always produced, high quality talent. But again, like I say, when you're talking about competing against guys from around the state, especially South Florida, it's competition. It's definitely
Those
tough
kids,
competition.
They're a different breed down there, man.
Yeah, and I was glad I was glad that when I got to Bethune that we had that talent on our team. That Miami talent, because all we did was we just meshed and produced, as the first championship in the school's history. Word on the street is that we possibly could have won it back to back. That 83 year, Daryl, when the transition took place between Bobby Frazier and Larry Little. Part of the team was unsure of whether or not they wanted to, continue on under the Larry Little, tutelage, but they came out in droves. I think we had an open spring game, open spring practice tryout. And there was so many guys that came out during that 83 season, simply because of the fact that, here's an NFL Hall of Famer that's coming back to his alma mater, to coach. So the talent in Miami has been and will be, top notch. And it's just about, whatever university or college you go to, if you put that talent together, it's going to be, unstoppable.
I had a guy by the name of DJ Mayo. I know you probably know that name. I had him on one of my podcasts, and he talked about you. He said that the first football he ever saw, he saw that you gave him. He said the first helmet he ever wore was your helmet. He even talked about the old Wildcat logo, and he talked about how well liked you were by much of your teammates. And I've always heard that too. Tell me a little bit about what you do now and in your sense of career.
Well, I'm on the downslope. I'm like I say, I'll be 61 tomorrow, and I live a good life, with a good wife, a good Wildcat wife. So we spend most of our time outside of work, traveling to see the Wildcats play. She's a season ticket holder, so you'll find her at a game, quicker than I would, and that's something she's been doing, for years, as you know, Daryl. But yeah, I'm on the tail end of truancy for the county, and had the opportunity basically to do some scouting, for my old team, BC Lions. And when you've gone to the league, whether it's the Canadian League, the NFL, or any other league, and you develop these relationships with these coaches and administration, they reach out to you, and they get your, if they want your opinion about a certain kid, you can give it to them, straight up. And it starts early. I mean, I had a guy that came to Jacksonville. He was a scout for the Rams. He wanted to know what Part Warner League I played on, which was, North Jack Sports Association. And he felt like that would be a start for him to start watching, or as we call it, grooming, those guys that become individuals that, we see on TV today. That's where it starts. It starts in, the Little League, the Pop Warners, the Optimus, those leagues. So it's just always good when you've established yourself as someone that folks can reach out to and get your opinion, and basically it can be a turning point whether or not they want a kid or not, because like Cortez said, Cortez, I've worked in school discipline as well. That's part of their portfolio. I remember in high school, the first place the high school recruiters go is the guidance office. Yep. And then they go around the school, talk to different people. They talk to the custodians, they talk to the people in the cafeteria.
Your ex-girl.
They want to know your whole makeup. So
school attendance, how much school they miss.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, Daryl, that's pretty much what I enjoy doing now. And basically, of course, I'm biased. I'm trying to get all the top talent to come to Bethune.
Right.
And as y'all mentioned earlier, with this portal going on, the resources that we have are limited. But if you can talk to them and tell them about the history, Bethune-Cookman, and why we love Bethune-Cookman, you never know. It just might change their mind.
Leon, you're in the Treasure Coast area, and back when I was a kid, one of the top players ever to come to BCC was a running back named Randy Sweetback Walker out of Fort Pierce, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever get a chance to put your eyes on that fella? I think you kind of young.
Never met him. But
let me tell you something. When he ran the football, the announcers used to say "Sweets for real estate." They ain't never said how many yards it was. It was real estate.
Real estate.
That cat, along with Walter Payton, were two of the best running backs in college football, even though they were playing HBCU. There's a lot of good talent in Treasure Coast area. Tell us quickly about Fort Pierce Central and Westwood, that area.
Well, this area has been really on the decline, on the incline, because it's moving from the bottom, Miami, up. These kids have the opportunity to go to any school they want to go to, as long as they can get there. They got a little portal in high school football now. You don't have to go to your neighborhood school, the school that you're zoned for. So all these kids are flocking to these schools to where, they're winning and they just want to be on the team. Now, with all that going on, you got some decent players, but you got your top tier, and you got some decents, and you got some ones that just want to be there. And the ones that just want to be there are starting to realize, hey, I got to step my game up. Treasure Coast and Jensen, they were close last year. They took, I forgot, there was some big team they took on. Westwood's coming along. Khalil Mack went to Westwood. Ryan McNeil played for the Hurricanes, went to Westwood. Jeff Blackshear. Fort Pierce Central had couple kids from Jerry Johnson, went to Florida State, played for the Denver Broncos. There's a foundation there for it. So it's just with these kids being able to migrate to different schools, can you keep that culture together? When I played, everybody on my senior squad, at some point in time, we played a sport together, whether it's baseball, basketball, or football. So when it came our senior year, we already knew everything about each other. We've been playing together for years. It didn't just start, that year. We went from 0-10 to 10-0 in high school, and me being the quarterback, which
all right,
I found crazy. But I'm in the Palm Bay. I live in Brevard County though. This little school over here, up the road, called Coco. Hawk, you better go check them out. You better go check them out. Go check them out.
I'll stop through there.
Hawk, they ain't got but maybe 24 players on the team.
I saw Daryl put up 2.
No, I was putting up 3. I thought he was going to say there's 3 schools. I thought he was going to say 3.
There are 3 schools, but there's only one you probably want to shop at.
Okay.
And that's Coco. Little kid right down the street from me. Watched him grow up. He grew up in Palm Bay, but he found a way to get to Coco. He's 6'5", 265 pounds now, and he going to Lane College.
Lane
Defense, exactly. And I'm like, he came to Cookman on a visit, and I'm like, man, you know, you gotta, you know, what's up? You know, I'm trying to sell it. And he was like, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Lane just got so much more to offer. And I'm like, Lane College? But all right. I got him on the back end though. He ain't never been nowhere. So
that's why.
when he get up there and figure what Lane College is really about, I think he'll come back.
you keep that one to the plow. Hey Zeus, quickly, you in Polk County, right?
Yes, sir.
Polk County, okay.
Man, there's some great football in Polk County.
Yeah. They all like you said, they all migrated to Lakeland, man. Dreadnoughts. But you know, they
Dreadnought.
Yes, sir. They bounce around so much, man. Like I think their quarterback from last year that lost state going to Lake Wells now. So it's just like crazy. Like I mean, I come from a small town from Fort Meade, man. We got about 8,000 people. And like you said, we've grew up with them guys. Like we weren't playing football, we were playing basketball at the park, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Together. Soccer at the, you know, it's just we just knew everybody, man. And you know, now it's just I mean, I've seen it. I was school resource deputy for 8.5 years, and I see cats go to Lakeland football and then come back and play Kathleen basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's like there's
Kid got 4 different Letterman jackets.
Yes, sir. Like, and it's so at first when it first started, it was like frowned upon. Like people were like hesitant to do it. After it got okay, like it was just like nothing, man. Like it was just norm. It's the norm now, man. You know.
These kids go like you said. These kids, Jesus, you said these kids are they're pampered.
Pampered, man.
You couldn't play with us if you wanted to be pampered because the coaches weren't gonna pamper you. Our coaches talking about your mama, tell you go get your mama. You're not playing. You're not playing. I don't care.
I think that was on the one person. And he told her the pistol in his pocket.
That was Si. Si had that 32 starter pistol.
Hey, I want to quickly, we got a couple more minutes, but Marcus, you know, going back to last weekend, you know, with the boxing and the wrestling, most of those kids, man, that's doing that, man, were they former athletes? I know the boxing was tremendous. I think the wrestling was very talented. So what about how you going to see that grow, man?
Well, I was just talking to the owner, Anthony Riley, who brought me in just really to do the entertainment side of it. And then we got kind of close and started planning of how we can really build like an ecosystem with this thing. So the wrestling is very close with the boxing. So we'll be trying to run events and storylines with the wrestling and develop storylines and just keep on looking for talent that wants to get involved with that. The boxing kind of already has its own like ecosystem with that, with the Orlando fighters that some of them, they go amateur, but it's almost like an intense sparring session, which you see on Saturday. We're still pulling resources together, trying to find investors to get us sanctioned, which we're getting close.
That's the next question. I mean, with the sanction.
Yes. That's something we're literally in the works of piecing together. And last Saturday kind of gave us the nod, like, yeah, we need to start thinking a little bit bigger with that. So we get sanctioned, and then we help the rec leagues that we're involved with now, just continuing the cycle, you know, and just making it boxing great. The good old days. I hate to say that tag. It just almost came out.
Boxing on the beach.
We're bringing back the glory days. We're not going to use that tag. I don't like that one. But
boxing on the beach. Boxing on the beach.
Yeah. Showtime. I like Showtime in Midtown. The owner's boxing nickname is Showtime. And that's Midtown. I tried to get something like the Thriller in Manila, something old school. Try to get something that match, that matched the event. And I just figured Showtime is bringing the fight with, to Midtown, and I'm gonna host the entertainment. So that's what you saw. We had Kale James from Jacksonville. We had Will Somerville and Chocho Baby. Names y'all probably don't know.
They coming.
But Lord Rocco and Eskimo Fat artists that performed that night. And that's what it's all about, trying to just showcase the city, the talents we have here, man.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and you can also use Harlem Park in there, because Harlem Park was like 1 foot away on the other side of the fence. You was in Harlem Park.
It got so lit that they were sitting on their cars trying to see what was going on over there, because it's kind of word of mouth right now, which is kind of purposely done. So you're gonna probably see more marketing behind the shows and the
I
events.
would love to see us block off the avenue and put the ring right in the middle of the street.
I mean, look, you the one with the connects in the city, man.
Yeah.
You had the stage in the middle of the city.
You're right.
Bike week, we should plan it. I'm with it. Let's book
Okay,
it.
we'll work on that.
Stuff.
See the
Awesome
manager.
stuff.
That'll be crazy.
Awesome.
Mhm.
But,
Hey, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Like I said, I haven't done a podcast in a while, and I handpicked you guys. I had my sights on you for a long time, and I know it's hard when you don't have a script, and I don't really use a script. I just wanted to hear from you guys and hear from your heart. But I'm out of time. I'm never, ever, ever out of sports. You've been watching the Locker Room. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, man.
See you guys.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm gonna send.